In this video, I'm going to quickly go over what the timeline of success looks like and what the ups and downs that come along with it and how you can weather the storm really, really well. So, first of all, whenever you start to do something, the number one thing that you do whenever you start a new endeavor is you suck at it. That's the first thing. So, and you suck at it for a very, very long period of time. You just don't know what you don't know, and then you start to know what you don't know, and then you start to know what you know, and then you become like a master of it, right? So this process takes a lot of time. And what typically happens is that there's this period where you go through no matter what you do. So if you have one skill you learned and mastered, you might go to a new one and you'd go through the exact same process, which is you will have a significantly long period of downturn, and then your success will typically be a step function or a spike. So it goes from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100 really fast, but it stays at 0 for a very long time. The number one thing people don't realize is that that is not a bad thing. What you're doing, the way you want to visualize it is essentially you're building a skyscraper, right? And if you were to build a skyscraper, the taller the building is, the deeper the foundation has to be. And if you're building like a bungalow, you don't even need a basement unless you, whatever reason you want to have it, but you don't need a strong foundation. It's just very, very small. And this is the reason that it's very easy to build things that are not scalable. But when you want to build something that's super scalable, there's a long period of time that you'll go through that you actually don't see any success. You'll see your friends getting raises at jobs. You'll see your cousin bragging about what they bought, a new house and stuff. And these things, at that point, depending on where you're in your life, will start to get at you. It'll start to eat you from the inside, basically, just to make you feel like you're not doing well enough. But you always want to think about the idea that you're building the foundation for a skyscraper. Now, obviously, you want to bring in coaches and consultants to make sure that you're building it in the right way and you're not wasting your time. But the downtime is inevitable. You're going to be at 0 or minimal for a very, very long time. And then typically what happens after is that the success always rolls in. And the reason for that is because everything is very, very interconnected. You start to align a lot of the things at the same time. It's basically like building a fire. Everything has to be absolutely perfect. And then when you have it, when the kindling sparks up, the fire just goes up right away. So that's what happens is after you have those long period of downtime, you craft the perfect combination to create that fire that eventually leads you to further and further growth. In complex science systems, the term is called volatility clusters. At least it's somewhat similar to that. It is when things happen, they happen all at once, good or bad. So you always want to keep that in mind, the volatility cluster idea, that whenever there is something happening, it's going to be a cluster of those things. And the cluster of negativity is going to be very, very long. And the cluster of positivity is going to be a short period of time, but it's going to be a lot of success at once. Now, a lot of the times, what happens after you get a little bit of success is you'll think you've got it all. You've figured it out. You're never going to have any issues. You made it. So that's a very rookie newbie mistake, and it doesn't necessarily just happen once. It happens multiple times in different skill sets. So when you figure out a little, you figure out a lot. So after that burst of success, you're typically going to have another downturn coming up, and a lot more people give up here than the previous when they haven't seen any success here, because what happens is that your expectations is so high. You think that, okay, I made it, now it's not working, then it's not meant to be at all. That is not the case at all. Every single thing, going back to the volatility clusters, it's very much like a cycle. You'll have periods of really good, and then you'll have periods of really, really bad. So it keeps going up and down, up and down. The number one mindset I can say that I have developed to actually overcome the negative sides whenever it happens is whenever you see something going down, it's time to double down. That's the mentality you want to have. If you see your sales calls are not closing, if you see your leads are not coming in, if you see your ads are not working, that is the time to double down. You need to put in 100 times more effort into that to make it work, because it's all related to theory of constraints, and I'll make another video of it, but it's basically if something is not working, that is the area of focus 110%. Everything else is just irrelevant. It's even if you have everything at a very high level, but this particular thing is a bottleneck, you're not going to be able to make anything work. So always remember, whenever you see a downturn, it's time to double down. A lot of the times you'll have a tendency to like think about it as like, oh man, this all the bad stuff always happens to me. I just can't get over this. I just constantly am suffering. Every second you think like that, you're wasting time and you're actually digging yourself a grave. The one negative thought leads to 10 negative thoughts, and then 20 negative thoughts, and then a million negative thoughts. And then soon enough, you'll want to quit. So whenever you have a downturn of any sort, you want to say, okay, this is my time to double down, get back in the trenches, get to work, do whatever you need to do. And you'll notice as you give more of your focus, more of your energy, more of your attention to one problem that you want to solve, it'll be extremely fast to solve. So hopefully that helps. This typically is like overall a timeline of success, what it looks like, where the main issues come in terms of mindset problems and where you can actually improve, and just going over a little bit about volatility clusters and theory of constraints. So if you guys like these videos, I can make more mindset type videos as well, rather than very practical ones. So leave a comment on what videos you want to see, and like, subscribe, all that good stuff.